Welcome. Today, we're diving into some of the most essential frameworks out there. The ones that help great leaders guide their teams through what can be turbulent but totally necessary change.
So, let's kick things off with a pretty sobering fact. That number you're looking at, roughly 67%, that's the percentage of major change projects that just don't hit their mark. We're talking nearly 2/3. They either fizzle out, face a wall of resistance, or just plain fail to deliver.
So that raises the big question, right? Why do so many fail? And more importantly, how can you make sure yours succeeds? Because look, avoiding change isn't an option. It's going to happen. The trick is learning how to master it. And the models we're about to walk through, they're the keys.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. We've just touched on the high stakes. Next, we'll get into different types of models. Some are like roadmaps for the process. Others focus on the human journey. Then we'll look at a diagnostic model before we wrap it all up with how to build your own change toolkit. All right, first up, process models. The best way to think about these is like a GPS or a detailed battle plan. They give you a clear, step-by-step guide to follow from start to finish.
And we have to start with a big one, Dr. John Kotter's 8-step model. This is the heavyweight champion for large-scale top-down transformations. It's all about creating a sense of urgency and building this unstoppable momentum.
Now, what's crucial about Kotter's model is that you really have to follow the steps in order. You can't just jump to the middle. See how it starts? You have to create that urgency first, making the why so compelling that people have to pay attention. Only then do you build your team, create the vision, and start removing roadblocks. And that last one there, generating short-term wins, absolutely critical for keeping the energy high.
Next up, we have a classic from Lewin. I love this one because it's so simple and the visual is just perfect. Imagine you have a block of ice. You can't just force it into a new shape, right? You have to melt it first.
And that's the whole idea. First, you unfreeze. You have to break down the old way of doing things, the old mindsets. You prepare everyone for what's coming. Then, you introduce the change itself. But here's the part that so many people forget, and it's maybe the most important. You have to refreeze. You have to solidify the new way of working so it becomes the new normal. Otherwise, people just naturally slide back to what they know.
Okay, so we've got the roadmaps, but what about the people actually making the journey? That brings us to our next category, people models. These frameworks are all about the human side of change, because let's be honest, an organization doesn't change until the individuals within it do.
A fantastic tool for this is the ADKAR model. Think of it as a personal checklist for change. It says that for any change to truly stick, every single person involved has to go through these 5 specific stages. And what makes this so powerful is that it's a diagnostic tool. If your change initiative is stalling out, you can literally go down this list and pinpoint the exact problem. Is it awareness? Do people even know why this is happening? Or is it desire? Maybe they know why, but they just don't want to. Or hey, maybe they have the knowledge, but they haven't had enough practice to build the ability. It's incredibly useful. Now, this next idea from William Bridges is, for me, a total game changer. He makes this brilliant distinction between change and transition. They sound similar, but they are worlds apart. So here's the deal. The change is the external thing. A new office, a new boss, a new software system. That can happen in an instant. But the transition? That's the internal psychological journey of letting go of the old way and embracing the new. That happens inside of us, and it takes time and support. You know that emotional roller coaster that comes with any big life change? Well, there's a model for that. The Kubler-Ross change curve was actually adapted from the 5 stages of grief, and it gives us an incredible map of the emotional journey people go on.
And understanding this is huge for leaders. Because suddenly, you don't just see resistance, you see denial, anger, bargaining, you see a normal human process playing out. And instead of getting frustrated with someone who's angry, you can listen. You can provide support and show them a path forward toward acceptance. It's about meeting people where they are.
All right, so we've looked at the process and the people. Now let's zoom out. Our third category is a diagnostic model. This isn't a series of steps to follow, it's more like an organizational health check, a way to see how all the different parts of the system fit together.
And for that, we turn to the McKinsey 7S framework. This one's a classic for a very good reason. It shows us that there are 7 core elements in any company, and they're all deeply connected. For change to really work, all 7 need to be in alignment.
So you've got your hard S's. These are the tangible things like your strategy, your org chart, your IT systems. Then you have the soft S's. Things like your shared values, your leadership style, your people, and their skills. These are harder to define, but honestly, they're often way more powerful. The framework forces you to ask, if we change our strategy, does our structure still make sense? Do our staff have the right skills to execute it? It helps you see the ripple effects before they cause a problem.
Okay, so we've covered all these different models. Which one is the right one to use? Well, here's the secret. You don't pick just one. The smartest leaders build a toolkit, combining these frameworks to perfectly fit their situation.
The real magic happens when you start mixing and matching. For instance, you could use Kotter's 8 steps as your high-level project plan, your main roadmap. At the same time, you use ADKAR to plan your training and communication for every individual, and all the while, you're keeping the Kubler-Ross curve in the back of your mind, so you can anticipate and support your team's emotional journey. They work together.
Ultimately, these models give you the science of change management. They're incredible tools, but great leadership, that will always be an art. They provide the map, but you still have to navigate the human terrain. Which really leaves us with this final question. Change is coming. It's inevitable. Are you ready to lead the people and not just manage the process?